Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL Don't Panic, and it is indeed a much better morning than it was yesterday morning here in New Zealand. The sun is shining, and I'm happy, sad. Happy, sad. Let's go with the happy though. Let's go with the happy. As you can see, I've got my Harvey Angelî, who was obviously looking down upon me as the game week looked like it was turning to absolute custard. They say a week is a long time in politics. Well, I'll tell you what, none of those buggers have ever played FPL for even 24 hours. But if they want to see a real topsy-turvy swings and roundabouts, ups and downs. So yeah, in my team selection video, I sort of went through the options that I was considering. And ultimately I went with Harvey Barnes. It was based around a few reasonings. When I did my wild card, that must be about, seems so long ago now, about game week 27, 28, was it 28? Which I had to do the wild card early. My team was an absolute tatters, as you'll remember. I just had anyone that could be injured, I had them. And it was either going to be taking multiple hits or wild cards. So I went the wild card option, obviously planning for 32, 33. Deliberately left a Newcastle slot open. Wanted to see what Newcastle emerged from the Carabao Cup final, where they the Newcastle from a year or two back when they lost the Carabao Cup final, and literally just did nothing for the rest of the season. The last 8, 9, 10 games of the season, they literally just disappeared from being one of the form teams. They literally just disappeared. Or if they got the victory, did they ever emerge in goal-scoring, free-flowing football form and banging in goals for fun? And as it happened, it was the latter. So I thought long and hard about it. Which do I go with, the Newcastle defence, or do I go with the triple attack? And unfortunately, the person I would have wanted to bring into the attack would have been Anthony Gordon. Absolutely, no question about that. That was very, very much the plan. But obviously then he's with the suspension and then injury. Harvey Barnes, excuse me. Anytime I've seen him, he's always passed the eye test. But minutes were always in doubt. And I looked at his numbers and it's just like, anytime he starts, he scores. I thought, you know what, I'm going to go different. Everyone else is on the Newcastle defender, Newcastle midfielder, and obviously Isak up front. And I thought, I'm going to go different, because I didn't have an Eze or a Sarr, and I felt like I needed something to counteract that a little bit. And lo and behold, Harvey Angelî saves the day. I'd dropped by about 25,000 places before that match, 30,000 places. Now, it's not a massive green arrow at the moment, and it may well disappear after the next game or two. And I totally accept that, but to be sitting at 100,869 right now, after all the lot of free hitters, not free hitters. There's been a lot of triple captains played. Certainly been a lot of bench boosters out there. I just think I'm very, very lucky, to be honest with you. So I'll take, it was reasonably decent judgment. Harvey Elliott fitted my spreadsheet in everything except minutes. I'm pretty confident that he'd have a start in this one and potentially a start in the next one. And I think after that performance, I think he'll get the start in the next one. Fingers crossed. Before I will probably have to move him out because Gordon will certainly be probably taking over, or there'll be a high minutes risk there. But to hit 100,869 even at this stage of the game week, it's a minor miracle. Frankly, it's a minor miracle, and I am technically inside top 100,000. 100,869. Thing that's keeping me outside the top 100,000 is I've taken more hits than about 3,000 or 4,000 people in front of me. No surprise there, anyone that's watched my season so far. I was actually at 107,000 at one point. 97,000 at one point until Bruno G got his goal, and that actually wiped out one point for Jacob Murphy, so he dropped back from 6 to 5. I couldn't be happier with that. The sad bit, and it was one of the other reasons where I didn't really want to put another Newcastle defender in place, I wanted to be able to at least cheer if my team scored. And it was a nice goal. We probably could have had a couple in that game. We only had 2 chances, but there was a little bit of nice football from United up front. But as I predicted, we got pumped. We were poor. Excuse me. Yeah, we were poor. I was joking with a mate of mine just before the game, sort of impersonating the United manager, having a conversation with someone, and said, hey, why don't we give this young 17-year-old left back a go? Hey, yeah, let's change our goalkeeper. Yeah. Shall we wait for Leicester at home? Nah, St James's Park. Let's throw him in. It was always going to end badly. It was always going to end badly. And even if they'd started with Shaw at left back and kept our clown goalkeeper in place, wouldn't have been any different a result. So I played the game, and sad to see United getting pumped, but there was never going to be any other result other than that. So I might as well take the plus side of it, which is at the moment fending off the free hitters and the assistant managers, and quite a lot of triple captainers as well. So to have it on an 8,000 rank rise at this point, and it will drop back. I may even be dropped back. Quite likely, I'll drop back to a red arrow by the end of the game week as a whole. Although you never know what's going to happen in that in the Crystal Palace Newcastle game. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? So that's that. That's the waffle. Let's have a quick look at the team. A couple of things just to have a quick look at here. Oh, that's nice. Projected team for. Sweet. Let's just move that out of the way for now. Let's use this one. So yeah, 50 points. Just outside the top 100k. It'll change, but honestly, I'd have bitten your hand off of that yesterday. Honestly, I really would have. I was sitting on 16 points. Madness, absolute madness. Interestingly, my projection was 63. 63 points in the predictions, which you'll see. So have a look at that at the moment. But one thing when I do my calculations, one thing I don't calculate, I usually sort of calculate that I'm going to have 11 players at least get 1 or 2 points. But oh my God, so many there with zeros. Even Henderson's his 1 pointer, he actually lost his 2 points. So if you sort of add up the twos that dropped to ones and zeros, it probably would have come out at about the sort of 63, 64 points. So I used to work for an analyst company. We'll manipulate numbers to make us look as though we got it right one way or another. But I'm very, very fortunate that this has been a low-scoring game week. That really, really did help. There's so many bench boosters out there. I thought they were going to run me down. And I haven't really seen too many over 15, and a lot with just 6, 7, 8 points. So dodged a bullet, and then so many people would have been on Glasner as the ass man. So that worked out as well, I guess. There's a few on Howe, but I think the vast majority were on Glasner, which is where I would have gone. Absolutely, if I had my assmanship, that's totally where I would have gone for this double, and it still might work out. Football's a funny old game, so they could still do some damage to me. But let's see how that all pans out. But overall, not fantastic. I mean, as I say, literally, as I often say, most of your points will come from 5 or 6 players. And as I said in the quick review video yesterday, I really need these. I'm really cutting it to the wire. And literally, every one of the players since then came in with something. Salah just an assist, and thankfully, Isak just an assist, because his points with the amount of triple captains on him, that would have hurt. So I consider myself fairly fortunate there again that I got the points obviously out of Harvey Barnes and Jacob Murphy, and that Isak didn't go too ballistic on me. Won't bore you to death anymore on that team. This game we'll have another touch base and a final wash up, but obviously mind is now obviously turning to the next game week, and this is going to be even more challenging. Could do another game week like this, a really nice low scoring game week where I just get a bunch of players come in that are my single game week players. But overall, I may make a transfer, but my instinct is to roll, because this team, and we'll look at this in more detail later on. When I come out of this game week, I actually don't look too bad in that blank. And I look at that midfield, and I look at, most people will be on, Palace in midfield. They'll have a Sarr or an Eze. They've got some rotation risks in there, like a Savinho or someone like that. So I know at the moment I've only got 5 doublers in there, I think it is. But I look at that. I've got, Henderson. You never know, he might pull out half a blinder. in a match. Could come in with a 10-pointer. Henderson is capable of that. We've seen it. We've seen they'll have Guehi back, for instance. So I don't think we'll see the goal leakage that we did against Man City. Although you never know. And and if it is, when they so he's capable of. I have no problem with Henderson conceding 5 or 6 against Newcastle. If it's Murphy and Ramsey getting in a bit of a goal fest, but for the next double, you just never know. You just never know with Henderson. He is capable of some big goalkeeping hauls and lots of save points. So might get a little bit of luck there. I've got 2 doublers in defence, which were neither of them was particularly impressive in the last game week. But again, this football, we're just in this weird game we've just had. You don't know sometimes. You just try and put yourself in that position to be lucky by having the right players out, and hopefully you can get 5 or 6 coming with decent points. So who knows out of Gvardiol and Manaz, and then Kanate. Yeah, totally happy. It's a single game weaker, but as we've seen the points that I took out of my defence this week, Kanate could easily get a hat trick, and who knows, get his head on the end of something. So not unhappy with that defense going out. Then the midfield is obviously where it looks obviously weak for a double game week. Is it really? I've got Salah. Look at that fixture. Mbemo, good fixture. Bowen, great fixture. Murphy banging form. I mean that might be the decision depending on how we what I see from where they go with any rotations, or who's on the bench, or is Gordon back in, or if these guys bang again against Palace, has Gordon got to fight his way back into the team? So bit of a rotation risk there, a minute's risk, but I might just take it. Then Isak and fine, absolutely fine with that. And then 2 doublers up front. I've got an instinct just to roll on this, even though I know that I will fall back. Undoubtedly, I'm going to fall back. But as I thought at the beginning of this game, this double set, if I can stay even within the top 200,000 as people are burning up their chips, if I can just hang in there in that sort of top 200, even 250, and stay within 20 or 30 points of that top 100k, and then try and come home with the wet sail when most people have burned up most of their chips. We've got that. Going to have another double. I'm looking okay for the blank. Might need a transfer there, but as we get to there's a lot of these players are actually okay for that potentially okay, depending on how the cup results go, for the double. And if I can build up some transfers for like a little mini wild card coming out of that for the last couple of games, as we sort of get a picture who's actually got stuff to fight for, whether it's your Newcastles, your Nottingham Forest, etc. Basically, who hasn't gone to the beach and who's playing maybe teams that are on the beach. Maybe, just maybe, I might pull off a little bit of a minor miracle. We'll see. I might just roll this week, just depending on how things go in the last game week or two. But at the moment, I can't complain. I really can't complain. We'll just have a quick look at the spreadsheet, just to sort of give you some idea on that. So that's basically the teams that went out this week. So the prediction was 64. So at the moment, and this is just on the first part, I'm just taking the double as like a bonus time. But I thought that bonus would be putting me in plus on the sort of 65, bringing me above the 70-point average, and hopefully a bit more to get that average up. But as it stands, you've got to absolutely take that, given the sort of game week that it was, and hopefully the 6 players that I've got going out for the double, playing against each other, so there's always going to be a bit of conflict there in terms of who can actually keep clean sheets or who gets goals, but everyone's in the same boat, so that is what it is. But I'm pretty happy to have the triple Newcastle attack as this game week has gone so far. But it could all be different, obviously. Looking forward then as well, just sort of looking at the watch list, which I spoke about in my team selection video, and who I was going to bring in. So obviously I did remove Foden and brought in Harvey Barnes. Interesting to see how some of the others fared. Obviously, I didn't bring in Gordon. I knew it would be the minutes risk, so that was proven to be the right decision. Saka, yeah, no, he didn't. Nothing there. So glad I didn't take that gamble. Tempted to bring him in for this double. Tempted. Let's see how the European thing goes. It is a temptation just to have one more doubler in there that's capable of a haul, but then it sort of uses up a transfer. And is it just worth one game week, effectively one fixture, one player, one fixture? I'm not sure it's worth it at the moment for what the benefit I can get by rolling, coming out that double, sorry, the blank, been in good shape for the blank, maybe needing one or two transfers, but then as I say, been able to build up a few more as we hit 36, where we're fairly certain there'll be a double and the blank 37. Rogers did get his assist. He was under very serious consideration. He's another one I'd consider bringing in for this game week as well. Palmer just got the assist. Yeah, mildly relieved. He nearly got a goal right at the end, so he nearly had a little mini haul. That would have badly affected rank. So again, luck there. Asensio, I definitely gave consideration to, and he went and missed 2 penalties. But it's definitely a thought. He does look good. I know he missed 2 penalties, but he actually does look really good. Marino is another one that I'd probably consider for this coming game week. Now he's just had his little bit of rotation, and Trossard got his run up front. Trossard's not a forward. I mean, Marino's not either, but he's a hell of a lot better than Trossard. Rice. Rice, I've got, come on, give me a pat on the back for this one. I called Rice and he got an assist. And you said I was mad. I said I was mad. And yeah, he got his assist. He's looking really good at the moment, and he is pretty much a guaranteed 90-minuter. Bruno, nothing from Bruno. So I think all things considered, out on my watch list, bringing Harvey Barnes in, yeah, I've got to give myself a pat on the back for that one. I haven't had too many pats on the back for stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to have to take a pat on the back for that one. So then, as I say, I think it's then looking out. Yeah, I think I've got about 9 players for that blank. Maybe one more transfer just to bolster that a little bit. They're pretty decent fixtures. But then I'm really looking toward whatever I do bring in. Hopefully, by the time we get to that blank, we'll just start to get maybe a little bit of clarity around who might be doubling in 36, so I can actually sort of consider who's got the fixtures, because it would be really nice to sort of gradually build that towards having that 37 and 38 as being a sea of green fixtures and nice home fixtures, with your home fixtures against your teams that are conceding goals. Now, obviously, I can't flip up with all of them, but your Southamptons and as much as possible your Leicesters. At the moment, your Crystal Palaces even. But teams with leaky defences playing against teams that have got something to play for, and with their strikers and midfielders in form. So that's kind of what I've got to now sort of start to build towards, knowing that I am going to drop back. I would say between 2 and 250,000. It could be worse. It could absolutely be worse. But if I can stay in that 2 to 250 range and have a decent plan in place for those last few games, and sort of just build towards that, you never know. You never know. But for now, I'm just going to just enjoy the next 24 hours, because it's all going to change to 100,869, and just enjoy it for 24 hours. Hope your game week's going well. Take care. Have fun. Play your own game. Don't panic, and see you at the end. Take care. Bye-bye.